Hopefully this will be the last video that I have to make on this subject. Just as a quick review, on the 1st of November, prior to the election by 7 days, I predicted that not only that Donald Trump would win, but also that after he won, the folks on the Democratic side would attempt to use faithless electors to try to get Miss Clinton installed as president. Now, whether you agree with it as far as the effort or disagree with it, the fact that it could be done and that it's constitutional to be done is not in debate. Despite that, I still have people who think that because they can Google that makes them educated. So I'm going to go here to factcheck.org, okay, and tell you what they have to say. And here we go. Question: can the Electoral College elect Hillary Clinton on December 19th? Yes, it may be constitutionally possible, but no, it will not happen according to election experts. And I'll go through the blah 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 here. But here's the quote: if they all vote the way their states voted, Donald Trump will win. The petition states, however, they can vote for Hillary Clinton if they choose. Even in states where that is not allowed, their vote would still be counted. They would simply pay a small fine, which we can be sure Clinton supporters will be glad to pay. We're calling on electors to ignore their states' vote and cast their ballots for Secretary Clinton. A number of our readers reached out to us by phone and email and asked if it was true that members of the Electoral College are not bound to vote for the candidate who won a majority of the votes in their state, and specifically whether the Electoral College could actually give the presidency to Clinton over Trump. And they go through and they blah 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 explain about everything about that, but basically what it comes down to is that it is possible and it is legal. And according to Veravote, there have been 157 faithless electors, and that's not very many given that it's been a couple hundred years. But I just wanted to go over that real quick before I actually get to the real part of this video that I wanted to make. Even if you make the allegation that there are laws and that those laws could stop a faithless elector from doing what they have alleged they're going, or they want the Democrats want them to do, you have to have somebody to enforce that law. And that was something that, probably my fault, I didn't cover clearly enough in my previous two videos. There are states that have governors that have been vocal in their opposition to Mr. Trump. Some of those states have governors that are Democrats. Some of those states have governors that are Republicans. So what you're seeing is a map of states that I have outlined that I think are at the greatest risk of having this happen. And I'm going to go over why, briefly, each state that could be the case. Let's start with Michigan. Michigan has 16 electoral votes. The governor of Michigan is a man named Rick Snyder. Okay, Rick Snyder, and you can Google it, just Google Rick Snyder Trump, those three words, and it'll show you he did not choose to endorse him. He's a Republican. Politico has him not endorsing him. He's called Donald Trump's comments revolting and disgusting. He wouldn't, when cornered, say if he would vote for Mr. Trump or not. So the idea that the governor of Michigan would enforce his own state's laws is just laughable. It's absolutely laughable. It just wouldn't happen. Besides, the laws have never been forced, they've never been challenged, and I covered this in a previous video. They would probably, more than likely, be struck down as unconstitutional because you can't force somebody to vote a certain way when you're giving them the power to vote either way. So the next state we'll go to is Ohio. Now this one's an easy one. John Kasich. Everybody knows John Kasich hates Donald Trump. He's been against him. He wrote in John McCain, if his state's electors decided to flip, abstain, whatever, not vote for Mr. Trump, take those electoral votes away from him, John Kasich wouldn't do a darn thing about it. Next state, Pennsylvania. Okay, Pennsylvania has a Democratic governor. Do you think a Democratic governor, a governor from the Democratic Party, if his state's Republican slate would default in either a small part or half or all of them, he wouldn't do a thing. He would do nothing. In fact, I think he'd probably applaud it, to be truthful, if they decided to flip or vote for Miss Clinton. Tennessee, once again, Republican governor, has been incredibly vocal in his opposition to Mr. Trump, called for him to step down, has lambasted him on every chance he's had. Once again, and in Tennessee, there are no laws. There's no faithless elector laws. So there would be no laws to enforce. So it would just be kind of tough luck. Alabama, Governor Bentley. Governor Bentley, Republican governor, withdrew his support for Mr. Trump a long time ago. Said he wouldn't vote for him. It's only 9 votes, but if anybody in that state decided to have a conscience and flip, I really don't think Mr. Bentley would do a thing about it. Missouri. Now remember, these are all red states. These are all states that went for Mr. Trump. Once again, we have a Democratic governor, Jay Nixon. The man is retiring after this year. There's no way he's going to get involved in this. If his state's 10 electors decided to flip, abstain, he's not going to do a thing about it. He's a Democrat. Okay? Out here in Utah, bit of a long shot, but the governor out there, Herbert and Jason Chaffetz, and you can look this up, the governor of Utah absolutely despises Donald Trump. And so does Jason Chaffetz. So if you add up these 7 states, 16, 18, 34, 20, 54, 11 and 9 down here is 20. That makes 74, 84. You have, and plus the 6 out here, you have 90. 90 electoral votes that are at risk. That if they would flip, it is incredibly unlikely that anybody would enforce the faithless elector laws where they are, and in some of these states there aren't. So you can argue with me all you want, whether you think it's a good idea or not. You can call it liberal crying all you want. I'll say it again. Didn't support Miss Clinton. Had a lot of issues with her. I'm in my mid-40s. I grew up in the 80s. I know what Donald Trump was all about. He was garbage. You know, he is a car salesman. He's about as bad an individual as you'll have. But Miss Clinton, honestly, these people were all friends in the 90s. I mean, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, these people, they're all cut from the same cloth, and I don't like any of it. My original video on the first was just making an observation as to political behavior. So this should clear it up as to whether this can happen, whether this can't happen, whether what I said is correct or whether I said it's not correct. Hopefully this will be the last one. Good luck, everyone. God bless. Have a Merry Christmas.